According to a brand new report from the National Association of Realtors, home sales now have been on the decline for 4 months in a row. In fact, as of May 2022, home sales are down an additional 3.4%. So the trend that we are seeing right now is more and more homes coming on the market for sale. We're seeing a lot of those homes sit longer on the market than they were previously. And we're seeing more of those homes begin to have price cuts because a lot of people have been pricing their homes based on what they've been selling for over the past 6 months to a year. But now it's going to be impossible to sell these homes at these new prices. According to Lawrence Young, the chief economist over at the National Association of Realtors, he says that home sales should continue to decline due to affordability and the rise in interest rates. Now guys, this is exactly what I've been saying in my last few videos, is we cannot see prices continue to go up and up with these interest rates where they're at right now, because affordability is becoming basically at an all-time low. People are not making the extra money needed in order to support home prices to continue to go up. It's just not, it's not economics, okay? That's not the way supply and demand works, right? Everybody's been saying that the reason for these prices being so high is because of supply and demand in the housing market, which is true. And that's a basic economic principle. And just the same is a basic economic principle that prices cannot continue to go up when there's no one in the market who can actually afford to pay those prices. Now, I've been seeing some people saying, well, interest rates are still historically low, so that's not such a big deal, Michael. Yeah, sure. Interest rates are still historically low, but the issue is not as much the interest rates as the purchase price at these interest rates. You know, the last time interest rates were at these numbers, guys, home prices were more than half of what they are right now. So that's the big issue that we're facing. It's not just the interest rates, it's the price that you need to pay for the home at today's interest rates is what's causing these sort of issues right now. And a new report today from Capital Economics came out, and they said that they believe home prices are going to fall 5% in 2023 and then recover and appreciate 3% in 2024. Now, that to me by no means is a housing market crash, and definitely, you know, not a discount worth writing home about. But I think the important thing for us to note here is how bigger corporations and more of the mainstream are starting to realize that today's prices are completely unsustainable. And for them to even come out and say at all that there's going to be any sort of a decline, because for the longest time, when you still go and look through most of these real estate articles out there, most of them are going to say that, you know, the housing market's too strong and the supply and demand dynamic is still too strong as well for prices to go down. But that's just not the case anymore, guys. And we're seeing this dynamic shift week by week and month by month now as we're halfway through 2022. Because check this out, in this same report from Capital Economics where they're predicting home prices to go down by 5%, they said now the average person needs an additional $28,000 in yearly income to qualify for a mortgage at today's prices. So like I said, it's not the actual interest rate that's hurting everybody, it's the price of the home combined with the interest rate that's really killing the deal right now. Have you gotten a $28,000 raise this year at your job or last year? I know I haven't. Sure, I don't have a regular job, but I'm sure most folks out there watching this or people you know have not gotten a $28,000 a year raise, guys. That's just completely unrealistic for most people. In fact, most people are lucky if they get any type of raise at all every year, and if they do, it's maybe by a couple $1,000 at best. So this is why we're starting to see home prices go down, because we are at that tipping point where pretty much only rich investors cash buyers, people that have a lot of money or really high income earners can really still buy in this market. But even they're wisening up and they're sitting this one out now until things start to get better. You see there's a brand new build going on right behind me here. New construction at work, guys. And by the way, thanks to everybody in my last video. If you saw me trip and stick my foot in that utility hole, I appreciate all the kind thoughts and comments on there. And as you can see, I'm doing pretty good. I'm out here walking. I don't feel any pain today, so just a little soreness yesterday. So thanks for that, guys. Now the next thing that supports what I've just been saying at the beginning of this video is that national home inventory is slowly creeping up, okay? Last month, it was around 2.2 months of supply of housing in the market nationally across the United States, okay? Well now, fast forward to today, that figure is up to 2.6 months. Now you might say, well, Michael, that's not like a huge increase, you know, it's just a very small increase. Well, it's an increase, guys. It's not a decrease. It's going up. It's not going down. And this is something that I've been trying to make everybody understand who watches this channel. Like, real estate is not the stock market, guys. We're seeing these massive swings in the stock and the crypto markets daily where things go up, you know, 10%, 5% in one day. That's not what we see in the housing market, okay? Things just don't work like that fast. But considering how slow the housing market moves, we're actually seeing some pretty massive moves pretty quickly right now because, you know, having the inventory go up by a quarter month supply in just 1 month is not so bad. You know, that's moving in the direction that we need to see inventory go to get back to a balanced market. So this to me is good news that we're seeing more homes start to hit the market and we're seeing these price cuts. And when you combine that with the decrease in amount of home sales overall, this is all pointing to us getting back to a more balanced real estate market, which I think we could all agree at this point would be the best thing for everyone. Now, sure, if you're a seller, you always want to get top dollar, but you know, honestly, guys, I don't personally think that we're going to see prices drop 50% in the next couple of years. It's probably not going to happen, but we are going to see declines. I think this capital economics report saying it's only going to go down by 5% is a pretty weak prediction. Who knows? They could end up being correct, but 5% sounds a little too low for the dramatic swings that we're seeing right now in the market. I'm over here in Miami Shores, walking past this one right now. Pending contract. I'll look it up later on and put it up on the screen how much this one's going for so you guys can see. That's the interesting thing about walking through the neighborhoods like this. If I see a for sale or for rent sign, I can give you guys the digs on what's really happening out here. Now, there was another interesting article I saw today about foreclosures because it was basically saying that because homeowners have received all these amazing equity gains in the past couple of years, that they can actually prevent going into foreclosure now by, you know, selling their home before it's too late. And honestly, I think that's an excellent idea, guys. You know, foreclosure starts are up. You know, the amount of foreclosures starting to hit the market and be processed through the court system are rising, but they're still lower. They're still about half the amount we saw back in 2019 pre-pandemic. Now, things are just getting started. You know, a lot of states just started opening up the books again, so to speak. So it's probably still a little too soon to tell if, you know, we're going to see more and more foreclosures hit the market. But that's what I've been saying about the recession. You know, if a recession comes, we're going to see more foreclosures. And guys, if you are in financial trouble right now with your home and, you know, you're worried about going into foreclosure in a recession, then the best thing to do is to sell right now while inventory out there is still pretty low and home prices are still high, and capitalize on the sale of that property. Now, I can't tell you exactly what to do next after that, but my best advice would be to downsize. You know, if you can't afford the home you're in now, then you need something cheaper. Or if you're having financial trouble, you know, sell your house now while you can still make a buck on it before it's too late. Don't get to the point where you're going to be in a foreclosure situation. You know, I care about everybody who watches this channel, and I never want to see anybody lose their home, but it's inevitable, guys. It's going to happen. You know, there's going to be people out there that are going to lose their home because they were irresponsible. And if you don't take advantage of this situation now, then it's probably going to be too late for many years to come. Another sign that we're seeing pointing towards the housing market shifting right now is that home flipping profitability is at its lowest level that we've seen since 2009, which I think is interesting because we're still seeing flippers out there making an attempt to put these homes on the market for, you know, a 40% markup from what they just paid for it a couple months ago and literally do no work. Those places aren't selling. In fact, guys, let me put this listing up on the screen. I actually did a video covering this issue, I think it was a month or two ago, and I highlighted this property I found over by, I think it was Huntington Beach, California. Somebody bought this property and turned around and listed it for more than they paid for it, like right away, didn't do any work, and look at that, it's still sitting on the market. So we see this happening more and more, and home flippers are reporting record low profits. Back in 2016, a home flipper could expect to make around a 53% return on investment if they were to buy a home, you know, actually fix it up and turn around and flip it to an end user. Well, guess what? Now in 2022, that number has fallen to 25%. So more than half of that profitability is now gone. Now, sure, they're still making 25%, and you can say that that's still a pretty good return, which I agree it is. But, you know, anybody who knows the home flipping business, it's a massive amount of work if you're doing it right. And, you know, a lot of people don't want to go through the effort with these dwindling profit margins. So, you know, we're going to see home flippers bailing out of the market now as well. So we're already seeing big time investors bailing. We're seeing the luxury market going down. We're seeing the average Joe say no because, you know, interest rates are too high, affordability is too high. And what does this all point to? It points to the market literally being in a correction as I'm walking and you're watching this video. And people are getting smart, guys. People are wising up to what's going on out there. I saw another article from Business Insider saying how 95% of consumers are changing their grocery shopping habits right now, signing up for discount stores like Sam's Club, Costco, things like that, to start buying things in bulk and saving a little money. And also they're switching the stores that they're shopping at, choosing to shop at stores like Aldi's instead of Publix, which is really expensive down here in Florida, or Whole Foods. And they're buying less, guys. They're buying less meat, they're buying less milk. They're trying to save on the really expensive things. And why would anybody do this? Well, they're doing this because people are smart, and they're starting to realize that the party's over and we need to get ready for a recession, because we don't know how bad the recession might be. So people are getting prepared. They're stocking up on things they know that they might need in anticipation of what's to come. So I think that's good news in the sense that people are starting to wake up to what's going on, but it's also a foreshadowing of what's to come, right? Because that just goes to show consumer sentiment is low and they don't have a lot of faith in our current economy. So they're cutting back on the things that they can save on right now. Here's another one for sale, guys, right here. It says it's got a pool, all that good stuff. Looks like it's actually listed by the same realtor as the other house. Let's show the price here. Yeah, check this out. Don't have to look this one up. 2.3 million. Built in 1978. 4,000 square foot house with a garage. 4 bed, 3 bath. with a pool. It is a beautiful house, I'll give it that. But 2.3 million, guys, I don't know. I think you could do a lot with $2.3 million versus buy a place like this. Now, another encouraging article I saw from Business Insider today, the CEO of Trivago says he also thinks that we're going to see an economic downturn, but he thinks it's going to come after the summer because he was analyzing his data that he has access to at Trivago, and he thinks that the summer travel season is going to be strong. You know, they see a lot of bookings for flights and hotels and things like that through their website. He thinks that by the time fall comes, things are really going to slow down because by then people will have kind of depleted their energy and also their savings that they planned on, you know, putting out there for this big summer vacation this year after all these lockdowns and different mask requirements and things everywhere. And now that all that's over, people want to get out and blow off steam, you know, while they can, apparently. So it's kind of interesting because we see this contradicting information in the sense that you have people that are being smart, going to the store, stocking up on things that they need at discounted prices, and then you have people out there, you know, blowing it all on summer vacations and things like that. So I think this conflicting information pretty much boils down to the different groups of people that we have in our country. You're always going to have people that are smart, the savers, the ones that look ahead, and then you have people like this that are just going to go out there and, you know, blow all the cash they have today because who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, right? That's their theory. So let's spend today while I'm alive today. But those people are probably going to be sorry when a recession does come and inflation keeps going like it has been and they can't afford, you know, next month's rent or to buy groceries. I would just caution people like that. If you're going to be doing these type of things, make sure you can afford it. If you have to put all this on credit cards and, you know, finance it through this high interest debt, don't do it. But the reason I thought this was good that the CEO from Trivago came out and said this is because it really shows that more and more people up in the big time corporate world are starting to see the reality of what's going on out there. And this guy has apparently been through the last couple of downturns. You know, he was, you know, out there in the workforce working for big companies back in the 2001 dot-com bubble and then of course back in the 08 Great Recession. And he says that this feels a lot more like 2001 this time around because of things like planes not taking off on time, and we're seeing all these canceled flights, as well as the fact that restaurants not opening and, you know, they don't have enough staff to basically take care of their customers, and many other businesses that have labor shortages right now. So he's relating this situation a lot to the 2001 dot-com bubble that we saw back then. If you guys agree, let me know what you think about that. I personally think that right now we're basically in uncharted territory because we haven't seen all these factors come together, I don't believe, ever. You know, I'm not an economist and I'm not a historian, but I don't think we've ever seen such record high home prices combined with inflation going up by the month, it seems like, and as well as, you know, people just not earning enough money to pay for the two things that they need the most, which is, you know, food and housing. These are the things that are most essential to our survival and well-being. And you know, the day that comes when average people can't afford this is a day I hope we never see. But he did have some good advice in his article because he basically was telling people, you know, instead of be afraid of the recession and the downturn, you know, he's saying get ready. And what he means by get ready is if you have a business, be ready to pivot, you know, be ready to switch jobs, be ready to switch industries, because the markets out there and the labor markets and the job markets and the different types of businesses that thrive during a recession are going to be changing, and you need to be ready to jump ship and try something new on a moment's notice if you want to stay afloat in recessionary times. So I think that was really good advice for him to come out and say that and basically admit that things aren't well right now and you need to be ready to do whatever you have to do, is exactly what he said. So I think that's great. Another story about the Fed is that Michelle Bowman from the Fed came out today and said that she is in favor of the continued rate hikes that they're going to be doing for the rest of the year, at minimum 50 basis points for each meeting, maybe more if necessary, until inflation is under control. So that's a good thing that we see more support from the Fed willing to tackle inflation at all costs, you know, at the expense of the housing market, at the expense of the stock market, whatever. That's good news to me. But the best thing that she said was actually that she thinks the Fed should basically butt out from now on when it comes to America's housing market, because basically these guys manipulated things to the point where, you know, it caused this crazy surge in home prices because of these interest rates being so artificially low for so long. And that was probably a big mistake looking back. That's basically what she's saying. And they probably shouldn't have done that. And they need to stop doing things like this and just let the market happen the way it's supposed to. And man, I couldn't agree more. I think the only way that we can see some normalcy in this country is for the government to stop butting in on every little thing that's happening and to stop trying to save all these big corporations, like we saw the bailouts with, back in '08, and we saw the bailouts with the airline industry when things were going down during the pandemic. You know, they got to just stop with all these things, okay? Maybe the intentions are good, but probably not. It's more just like, who can we give this money to? Our buddies, need some help right now. Let's just throw several billion their way. So, it's nice to read things like that, but in reality, are we going to see it happen? I don't know. We'll see. And one interesting story I want to share with you guys happening in Florida right now is Larry Ellison, the founder and CEO of Oracle Software, that big software company. This guy's net worth is about $84 billion, okay? So he's super rich, but he is definitely not super humble, especially when it comes to real estate. In fact, he just set the record this week in Florida for the most expensive real estate transaction ever in the history of the state. He bought this mansion that's about 66,000 square feet near Palm Beach in a small town called Manalapan, Florida. So it's just south of West Palm Beach. And he bought this house for $173 million, guys. 66,000 square feet on the ocean. And, this is not even a big deal for him, because just apparently a year ago, this guy bought a house right in that same area for $94 million and tore it down. So this guy's got more money than he knows what to do with. Meanwhile, the average person out there struggling to buy, the median price $420,000 house in America right now. So I've never been the one to say, we should tax the rich and, rich people are evil or anything like that. But I do think to some extent that just maybe people with this much money could do a little more good in the world than just go blow it on $173 million mansions, I mean, what if you use that $173 million, which is a drop in the bucket for this guy, having $84 billion in net worth. What if he used that to buy a house in cash for, 100,000 people, or probably more for that kind of money, right? So how many people could you put into a home for that type of money? So I don't know. If I was really rich, guys, and I was seeing what's going on in the country right now, and I had that kind of cash, I think I would be looking at doing things like that rather than give it to a charity or anything, because we see that the average person's struggling, and if you have the ability to help out, sure, you can't put everybody into a house, it's not going to be fair. Some people would get a house, some wouldn't, but at least you're like doing your part in the world versus just, buying the most extravagant house you can find in the state of Florida. So let me know what you guys think about that. If you guys stuck with me this long, then you must have really enjoyed this video, and I highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel and check out the next video just like this one on the screen right over here, and I'll catch you in the next one.